You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, I said it before, guys. If women want to stop men from coming in and dominating their sport, identifying as women, they're going to need to speak out. Now, we've seen Riley Gaines and some other NCAA athletes actually come out and actually threaten the NCAA if the NCAA doesn't stop this from happening. This is a growing trend in sports, and it all comes from woke activists. The activists out there want to transition your kids, and they're not stopping. They're not going to hold back until they actually push their propaganda to every aspect of your life. But when it comes to sports, we've seen these biological men actually come in and dominate the competition. We've done countless videos on one, Leah/Will Thomas, who won an NCAA championship and just towered over the competition in the pool. I mean, this guy looked like a guy. Why? Because that's a biological male. The wingspan. It was just incredible. If you haven't seen Leah/Will Thomas, check out a picture. Check out a picture. And this guy went in the pool and dominated. Now, guys, we actually have a soccer player now who actually won, I believe, a couple of World Cups or participated in a couple of World Cups, is coming out and is perfectly okay with men going over to women's sports and dominating the competition and saying there is no advantage. I mean, this is crazy, but this athlete seems to be pretty woke, and she is from Missouri, and Missouri is putting on the books. This will not happen in Missouri. Here we go on Fox News. U.S. soccer star Becky Sauerbrunn supports trans girls playing youth sports, takes aim at Missouri lawmakers. Wow, this is going to be the death knell of women's sports if more people come out and start supporting stuff like this. Becky Sauerbrunn, what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I said it before, guys, that a biological male, the average size biological male, could snap a woman in two easily because there is a physical difference between men and women. But let's go ahead and read this, guys. Becky Sauerbrunn, a U.S. women's soccer star who has won 2 FIFA World Cups and a gold medal in the 2012 Olympics, made her stance clear on bills that would bar transgender girls, biological boys, from playing sports with biological females. Sauerbrunn's op-ed was published in the Springfield News Leader in Missouri on Sunday morning and goes after a state bill that would bar transgender girls from playing on girls' sports teams. The 37-year-old center back wrote she can, quote, assure you that playing with or against transgender women and girls is not a threat to women's sports. I mean, has she not been paying attention to what's going on? Fallon Fox fractured the skull of a biological woman in the octagon, I believe. Fallon Fox is a biological man, fractured the skull. Leah Thomas dominated the competition, but yet it's not a threat? Really? The soccer player cited the NCAA and International Olympic Committee's rules for transgender athlete participation. The NCAA says transgender females must meet a certain testosterone threshold to be able to compete against biological females. That didn't work out for them. Leah Thomas, remember? The IOC put the onus on each individual sport to come up with transgender inclusion guidelines. The Missouri bill, which restricts what teams transgender student athletes can play on, could pass through the legislature later this year. Missouri's current public school sports rules already prohibit transgender girls from competing on girls' teams unless they have undergone at least 1 year of hormone therapy and continue taking medications to maintain hormone levels. The rules also require transgender athletes to apply and submit documentation of medical care in order to compete at the gender they identify with. This is a problem, man. This is a big time problem right here. And Becky Sauerbrunn, you're part of the problem. The St. Louis native wrote the bills, quote, don't consider any of the actual changes to women and girls in sports. She called on lawmakers to focus on sexual assault and harassment in women's sports instead. Okay, you want to focus on that, but yet you want to allow men, because I'm assuming that she's talking about men who are actually doing the assaulting and harassing. You want them in the same locker room changing in front of other young girls and women. This is ridiculous, but this is what she said. Quote, the proposed Save Women's Sports Act does nothing to protect or support girls and women in sports, she wrote in the Springfield News Leader. If those putting forth this legislation actually listen to the needs and concerns of women in sports, they would outline clear steps to protect women and girls from the rampant sexual assault and harassment plaguing sports, issues we've been fighting in the NWSL. They would clarify what's being done to ensure all institutions in Missouri are Title IX compliant. They would outline a plan to promote equal pay for women athletes. But yet, you want the men to actually come over and take away spots from women. Okay. She goes on. They would ensure young women and girls have equitable resources in sport, especially young women and girls of color. Here we go. Instead, they're pushing kids away from the life-changing power of sports, forever depriving them of the invaluable lessons sports teaches and the best friends they would find in their teams. I have been championing gender equity in sport for a long time, and I am done seeing transgender youth being cruelly targeted to score political points. Transgender people are exactly that, people, not tools to be welded in a climb up the political ladder. I'm not alone. Hundreds of other elite women athletes from Billie Jean King to Candace Parker have consistently expressed loud opposition to bills almost identical to the ones being heard in the Missouri Senate. Thousands of college athletes have signed letters supporting transgender athletes and against discriminatory bills like these. Now, Candace Parker, how would she actually feel if one LeBron James said, you know what, I'm going to transition into a woman and I'm going to go over to the WNBA? Candace Parker would get destroyed by LeBron James. It would not even be a competition. I mean, this is ridiculous. Now, Billie Jean King. Yeah, Billie Jean King in her prime played against a very, very old male tennis player. And I believe the Fitz was in that Battle of the Sexes because he actually had dominated a woman, I believe, like in the previous Battle of the Sexes. And then Billie Jean King was at her peak. This guy was like almost 60 who she went against. My goodness, man. But what do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of Becky Sauerbrunn? She's perfectly okay with women being dominated, and I do mean dominated, by men. If she gets away, man, you can just kiss women's sports goodbye. Kiss it goodbye. Because if a woman had to stand toe-to-toe with a man in competitive sports, they would just get obliterated. Obliterated. I mean, does she want another Fallon Fox thing happening where a woman gets her skull fractured by a man? Remember the NHL? They went woke with this transgender hockey game. Man comes in who identifies as a woman, like barely taps this biological woman, and she's down and out with a concussion. Wow. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and white sports fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.